Whether you're a cinematic shooter or casual capture of life, the Blackmagic Cam App is a must-have if you plan on shooting on your phone. It gives you full control to customize settings to your liking, or you can run it in full auto, making it a more robust alternative to the native camera app. And the best part is this app is free. For the last few weeks, I've been using this app exclusively. So in this video, I want to share with you my recommended settings and why presets will be your best friend. I'm gonna let you in on one super cool setting that I don't hear enough people talk about. The version of the Blackmagic Cam app I'm using is here. And I'll be leaving chapters in the description for those who want to refer back to specific sections of the video. First thing we're gonna do is jump into the settings. The goal we're aiming for is creating presets so you can quickly jump between your preferred settings for different shooting scenarios. In the record tab, you'll see at the very top, Codec. I recommend shooting in H.265 with the bitrate set to max. This to me strikes the perfect balance between video quality and file size. Although ProRes technically produces a higher fidelity video, it comes at the cost of storage, and I don't plan on shooting with an external SSD. I should note that I use my phone for vlogging and for social media content, so H.265 is good enough for me. But for you more professional cinematographers, ProRes is the way to go. Resolution and color space. For 99% of shooting, I stick to 4K as this is the highest resolution you can shoot in H.265 and ProRes. For color space, I recommend shooting in a log profile. This gives you the most flexibility to play with colors and contrast. Choose Apple Log 2 if you're shooting on the latest iPhone 17 Pro like me, or regular Apple Log if you're on a 15 Pro or 16 Pro. If your phone doesn't have a log profile, then leave this in Rec 709. Audio. Now, I'm a true believer that good audio with crappy video is 1,000% better than good video with crappy audio. Luckily for us, iPhones have amazing internal microphones. By default, the audio source will be set to iPhone microphone, but if you plan on using AirPods or an external audio source, then you can select it here. For example, I like to use the Hollyland Lark A1 microphones because they're small, compact, and made specifically for cell phones. On a record as, by default, your audio is set to stereo. When using the internal microphones, this is great. Not so great when you're using external microphones. One of my biggest pet peeves is scrolling through social media and I come across a video where the dialogue is glued to one side of my AirPods. I'm not sure how people don't notice this when they're editing, but unfortunately I see this a lot. I've even seen full YouTube videos suffer from this and talk about the quickest way to get someone to click off your video. Now, the Lark A1 mics are great because I can use 2 mics with 1 receiver. And when shooting in stereo, I can have a clean feed of mic 1 going to the right side and a clean feed of mic 2 to the left side. This allows me to have better control over the dialogue mix if I need it. But this leaves me with 2 issues. I can still only hear person 1 on the left side and person 2 on the right. And 2, if I'm using 1 mic for solo content like I normally do, then I'll only really be able to hear dialogue in 1 ear. Now here is this super cool feature that solves all those problems: dual mono. Dual mono records in mono or a balanced, centered image, but preserves the stereo separation. If you plan to post directly to social media, then dual mono will have your dialogue balanced straight out of camera. Or if you plan to bring your videos into DaVinci Resolve and edit there, then DaVinci will automatically separate the tracks for you. Even if you stick to the internal mics, you can easily pan each track left and right to regain your stereo image. All right, I know that was a lot about audio, but I love it and it's super important, so I had to say it. Now, if at any point in this video you have a question, then please don't hesitate to ask in the comments below. But we're not done creating the foundation of our preset yet. Here are some quick-fire essential settings. Under the camera tab, enable vertical video, lock white balance on record, shutter measurement should be changed to shutter angle. I'll explain why a little later. Under media, turn off proxy record. Now there's a few more settings we have to configure in the camera view before we can create the preset. Make sure your lens is in the main 24mm or 1x lens. Make sure to change your frame rate to 30 for social media content or 23.98 for cinematic video. My Sony camera also shoots in 23.98, so I'm gonna stick with that. For shutter angle, we're gonna change this to 180. Earlier, I mentioned that I changed my shutter measurement from shutter speed to shutter angle. Without getting too technical, shooting at 180 degrees gives you that natural cinematic motion blur. If you're going for a cinematic and natural look, then having a faster shutter speed is a dead giveaway that you're shooting on a phone, versus shooting in auto that utilizes a faster shutter speed or shutter angle. Notice when I freeze the frames, the 180-degree shot has some blur because of the motion of my hand, versus the sharp detail in the second clip. And then we're gonna lock it to make sure it doesn't shift on us if we accidentally press the screen, which I unfortunately do all the time. Toggle for ISO. This controls how sensitive the camera sensor is to the light hitting it. In general, try to shoot as low as you can. When in low light, using up to 1600 ISO works amazingly, but going above that starts to get exponentially noisy, so I try not to shoot any higher than this if I can help it. Pairing the 180 shutter angle with the lowest ISO possible will set the foundation for your natural cinematic look. But you'll notice that when shooting in broad daylight, this blows out your image. Now to fix this, we'll need an ND filter. Now there's a lot of options out there, but I'll be using the Moment Quick Lock Variable ND. Now if you're curious about this setup, I made a whole separate video going over this in detail, which I'll link in the description. But essentially, a variable ND or neutral density filter is like putting sunglasses on your lens. Now you most likely don't need a variable ND when you're shooting indoors, but when you're shooting in broad daylight like this, it is essential. I like to keep my white balance locked because the last thing I want to do is be fiddling around with more settings and dealing with different white balance shifts. So it's a lot easier for me to just compensate for any shifts in balance in post. I like to keep mine at 4950K with a tint of 17. The only other value I recommend using is 32,000K when shooting in warm tungsten light, which is common for indoors. Now, if you don't want to compensate for any of that stuff in post, then switch this to auto, and then you'll be good to go from there. I also recently made a video using these exact settings, which you can check out right here, if you want to see a more anecdotal approach to shooting with the Blackmagic Camera app. Now, for those who don't know, LUT stands for lookup table, which pretty much translates to video preset. Blackmagic provides some LUTs to use, but I don't recommend using them as they're pretty intense looks. I suggest turning them all off, except for Rec. 709 neutral. Honestly, this LUT doesn't get enough love. I actually think it looks great. It mimics the look of the native camera app, which I find useful as I like this look for social media content. It presents as regular iPhone footage, but under the hood, I'm still shooting an Apple Log 2 in case I want to repurpose it for later. But more likely than not, you're going to want to import your own LUTs. This is where you can do it. For example, I'll be importing my own LUTs, which you can pick up on my website via the link in the description. There, you can pick up my creative LUT, which I use for all of my iPhone shooting, but I'm also providing a free Apple Log 2 to Rec. 709 conversion LUT that I calibrated myself to match the white point of most other cameras. And again, you can pick that up for free. But anyway, to import LUTs, you simply scroll down to the bottom, click on Import. This will launch the file manager. From here, find the location of the LUTs, select the files you want to import. My LUTs, as I'm sure is the same with most others, are already built to convert Apple Log 2 to Rec. 709, so leave the color space tag to Rec. 709. You can use the LUT icon to quickly swap between your favorite looks. You can also choose to bake in the LUT in case you want to save some time in the edit. Lastly, I keep my stabilization set to standard. Saving and importing presets. Now that we have all the settings configured, we can now make the preset. In the camera view, you'll notice 3 dots on the left side of the camera. If you don't see them, then you can swipe down on the monitor to show your display information. Press the top icon, then tap on the plus, and here you'll be able to name your preset whatever you like. My naming scheme starts with the resolution, followed by the lens the preset will launch in, the frame rate, the shutter angle for when I'm shooting manually, or auto to indicate I'm shooting in automatic settings. And lastly, how the audio will be recorded. In my case, I always choose dual mono. If you downloaded my free presets, then you can import them in the settings menu. Slide down to presets, import presets, locate the files on your phone, and then you'll be able to access them from the camera view. My presets are a great starting point for most shooting scenarios. There's even a few presets for automatic shooting, which I actually do pretty often in this app. Now, if there are little settings you prefer over mine, then make the tweaks you'd prefer to have and then press the update button to update that particular preset. Now, lastly, the media tab. Here's where you can play back and export your footage. To export videos to your desired location, simply select the clips you want to export, hit the share button, then select save video to export to your photo library, or save the files if you plan to export to an external SSD. All right, if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and give yourselves a pat on the back. That was a lot of information, I know, but believe it or not, this video only scratched the surface. I'm gonna link 2 videos by 2 creators who have made full in-depth explanations of every single setting in the Blackmagic Cam app. So if you really wanna dive in deep, go ahead and check them out. I do wanna quickly remind you that you can pick up my free presets, my free Apple Log 2 conversion LUT via the link in the description. But also, if you wanna support the channel, then you can pay what you want or pick up my creative LUT. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.